Hi guys, welcome to another farming simulator tutorial. In this episode we're going to be looking at the 10 various cultivators available from the outset, looking at the different costs and the cultivating width of those. So why is this game cultivating the fields? Well, in real life, farmers need to cultivate the soil to create the favourable conditions for their crops that they want to grow in it. Growing a crop is not actually an obvious thing. It's not just by putting the seed in the soil and then coming back months later and hope to be able to harvest it. The crop itself has to be able to establish itself. So the roots must be able to grow, water must be able to penetrate and be available to those roots itself. And we also need to keep control of those weeds. So within this game you get a 10% yield bonus for having a field that has been ploughed and then cultivated, but it's after every third crop cycle that you really need to have it ploughed. That means you can get away with basically just cultivating a field straight after harvesting. So realistically, if you're going to go for a new seed, then I would go for plough and cultivating. But if it's the same one, then you're going to be just cultivating alone. So we've already jumped onto our first cultivator. It's the Cultivate L300. It's a cultivator that you get at the very beginning of the game that's already on your farm. Now this is only about a 10,000 cost cultivator, but it actually requires an 88 kilowatt or it's a 120 horsepower tractor to work with. Now this gives us a 10 mile an hour ploughing speed with a width of 3 meters. So let's see how we get on with this and see its turning circle. So we can see there that the AI easily handled the edge of the field with this plough with nothing being lost, and this is a beautiful little drive-by. So on to the next cultivator. This is the Vernon Quad Disc Farmer 3000. This costs 8,800 in the whichever currency you're working with, and this has a requirement for the tractor of 66 kilowatts or 90 horsepower, whichever you're used to. We have a 3 meter wide cultivating space, and we'll still maintain our 10 mile an hour or the equivalent in kilometers. So let's see how we get on with this. Okay, and now let's have a look at the AI as they handle the turning around. So we can see there that the AI has easily managed that without loss of any of the field. So let's now look at the beautiful drive-by. So the next cultivator is the Horish Toronto, I think it is, the 4FX. This is a beautiful looking cultivator. I keep wanting to call it a plough. This retails at 14,000 currency. And the beauty with this is this has a 4 meter wide cultivating area. Now obviously with it being slightly bigger and slightly wider, and also to be a hydraulic cultivator, this actually requires a larger horsepower tractor, and we're looking at 118 kilowatts and 160 horsepower, and again we'll have 10 mile an hour speed limit on this. Now again, as we can see, the AI has no issues whatsoever in maneuvering this for turning around, and it's an absolute beautiful plough. So let's just have a look as the tractor goes by. Okay, so the next cultivator we're going to be looking at is the Horish Toronto 5FM. Now this requires a bit more pulling power, so we're looking at 151 kilowatts and 205 horsepower. This this cultivator will cultivate a space of 4.8 meters, and as you can see, the helper does need to do some maneuvering to get round at the end of the field, so you need to make sure you have enough space on there, and as you can see, they are easily managing to cultivate to the very edge of the field. So now let's just go and have a quick scan at the drive-by. So the next two cultivators we're looking at are the Amazon Acatros 6002-2, and there's two versions of this, one with the basic standalone, and we have the additional one which can be used behind a slurry wagon, so we can actually fertilize the ground at the same time as cultivating it. Now these two heads are hydraulic ones, so they're very small and very maneuverable as far as your helper is concerned, but they will actually cultivate a width of 6 meters, and to be able to cultivate that sort of space you do need a tractor that's got at least 132 kilowatts or 180 brake horsepower. So let's go and see these in action. Okay, so as you can see at the end of the field here that the helper has had no issues whatsoever in rotating or in turning around, especially with this tractor, so very quick and efficient. So let's go and have a quick look at the drive-by. Very nice indeed. So the next cultivator we're looking at is the Carrier XL 825 from Vladster. I really like the look of this cultivator. I think it's the combination of colours really do look absolutely beautiful. Now this cultivator can cultivate a width of 8.3 meters, but it does need a lot more horsepower. We're talking 243 kilowatts or 330 horsepower. Now also, as you can see here, the AI is having to do a bit more maneuvering to be able to reline up to go back down the field. So bear that in mind. The other option is we can cultivate the headland, then they would turn earlier. And let's have that beautiful drive-by. Very nice. So the next cultivator we're looking at is the Tiger 10 LT from Horish. Now this is an absolute beast of a cultivator. This can actually cultivate a width of 10.2 meters. Now this does start needing some serious horsepower. We're talking 294 kilowatts and 410 horsepower. So this is an absolute beast and a must for your larger fields. Now as you can see also that the AI is having to do a lot more maneuvering to reline up. Obviously again, if we dealt with the headland first, this would be reduced, and as you can see they still make light work using this big cultivator. That's very nice. Let's have a look at the drive-by. Very nice indeed. So the next cultivator we're looking at is the Giant 10 from Lemkin. This is a humongous cultivator. It will cultivate 12 meters in width, but it actually uses less horsepower than the previous Horish. So it only needs 221 kilowatts or 300 horsepower to maneuver. Now as you can see there with the AI, we've already cultivated the headland, which means that the AI has plenty of space to turn around because there is seriously long cultivator. Let's go and have a look at the drive-by. Very nice indeed. So to the final cultivator, the All-Rounder from Clockering. I believe that's the correct way of pronouncing it. And this is an absolute gargantuan beast. This will cultivate 14.5 meters in width, and yet it uses less horsepower than the Horish Tiger 10L. It only needs 257 kilowatts or 350 horsepower. As you can see, it is making very light work of this field, and it looks absolutely amazing. Now again, as we've get to the end of the field, we can see, because we've actually done the headland, the AI makes very light work of maneuvering around to restart the next run. So let's go and have a look at our drive-by. Very nice indeed. Right, Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked what you've seen, hit that subscribe, and until next time, that's Murphy out.